Kannst du mich hören? Ich hoffe, dass das funktioniert. Ich habe manchmal das Problem, dass von der Seite der Wind reinweht. Und deswegen muss ich das jetzt mal überprüfen, ob ich da noch irgendwas machen muss oder ob das in Ordnung ist so. Ich habe das Mikrofon jetzt abgedeckt. Den Bulldog, den man im Hintergrund hört, den wird man dann hoffentlich gleich nicht hören. Sound ist 1A. Super, danke. Liegt das an meiner unglaublich schönen Stimme oder liegt das eher daran, weil das Mikrofon so gut eingestellt ist? Alles klar, gut. Dann werde ich jetzt ganz kurz das andere noch rein. Hier ist vermutlich auch kein Problem. Und auch während das Video abspielt, müsste man Sound hören. Und ich hoffe, dass wir niemals auf den nächsten Punkt kommen. Und dann wird es gleich wieder beendet. Und noch einmal ein Test. Ist das jetzt besser mit dem Sound? Kommt der jetzt auch auf der anderen Seite an? So, hello again. Sorry, I was made aware that there is no sound coming through. I will check in if this is still the case. Please tell me. Yeah, okay. So there is no sound at the moment, but hopefully this has changed. Please tell me. Yeah, so one thing for you to know, it is that there's a lot of delay. All right, there's a lot of delay between the chat and me getting sound. Nice, thank you. Yeah, this is, well, this is the first time we're doing a stream like this, so I'm very sorry for the problems we had. Yeah, so Dejan said it's still no sound, but he's a stormtrooper, so maybe he missed this. Okay, so if the sound is okay now, we can start. And as 26 people listening right now at the moment, which is really nice. Okay. And maybe, all right, good. So then I try it again. Welcome everybody to the first webinar out of the rooftop greenhouse of EBF. As you see, we are in the rooftop greenhouse at the moment, which in hindsight was not the best idea because it is really, really hot in here. But we're going through it anyway because, well, yeah, I have to. Now, I have enough water, so I might most probably not drop dead while streaming. So, one information for our German viewers. Dieser Stream kann nachträglich wiederholt werden auf Deutsch, falls das gewünscht ist und genügend Leute sich bei mir melden. Und dann werden wir das irgendwann im späteren Verlauf des Jahres dann nochmal wiederholen. Ja, das war's soweit. Okay, now we are back to English because I had to talk to our German friends about that this stream might be repeated in German later. Okay, so if everybody is fine, we can start with all what we have to show today. And I can tell you it's going to be really interesting because I can show you not only some presentation about some pictures, but I have a total of 25 minutes of videos where I can show you each detailed aspect of the construction of the greenhouse, which will be really nice, and I hope everybody is enjoying it as much as I'm doing it right now. If after the presentation, we maybe make a short break and then we can make a question and answer. Everybody who can write in the chat can write in the chat. Otherwise, you can just write me an email while I'm talking, and then we'll go through this later. Anyway, you can still send me an email whenever you want. All right, with that, I think the best idea is to start with the presentation, right? So that makes me small, and today I'm going to be talking about the GROOF project, which is greenhouses to reduce CO2 on roofs. And what that is the following. There are a lot of CO2 emissions over all sectors, and we are very interested in the agriculture and building aspect of it. And we think that there's a transversal approach to reduce the CO2 emissions here. And this might be the idea. We could put rooftops, greenhouses on rooftops. And this looks really nice here. And there are some questions like, is it relevant, feasible, or profitable? And GROOF will find that out. Therefore, we are 12 partners from France, Belgium, Germany, Spain, and Luxembourg, and there is a total funding of 5.9 million euros. And this is divided by all partners, and especially this is going to the 4 pilot greenhouses which are being built. This is an overview about the partners. If you want to contact each of them, I think they're very happy about that. And you'll find every information I'm talking about today, especially about the GROOF project, on the website groof.eu. So the first aspect is learning about existing buildings. For example, left upper corner is from our friends from ICTA in Barcelona at the Free University of Barcelona, and they have been working on that a lot, and I think they would be really enjoying if you want to contact them because they are researching it a lot. The other ones are just greenhouses we found all over Europe, for example, in the right upper corner in Belgium, and in the middle one you see in The Hague the Urban Farmers Greenhouse, which is a really nice greenhouse looking over the whole city. Then we want to learn by testing, and this is, for example, the first pilot greenhouse, which is going to be erected in Gembloux, Belgium. I think they might be ready to show something in September this year, and I'm really looking forward for this greenhouse. It's going to be a research greenhouse, and we hope that it will be as nice as the pictures are showing. The next one is in Betonbourg, Luxembourg, and what you will see on the left side is the actually nearly finished building of the greenhouse itself, and this is going to be a very product heavy greenhouse, and let's see how this is going to be. Below the greenhouse there will be a canteen. The next one is in Paris, well, in Saint-Denis, and the La Ferme des Galets, and is going to be integrated in their very nice project of the urban market garden. And their greenhouse, I think, should be finished somewhere in July or August. Each of these greenhouses will have a webinar on their own, where they're going to be talking about what they have done. Then there was an open call for greenhouse projects, like rooftop greenhouse project over Europe, where we had 10 projects selected, which we coached. And I want to talk something about the open call a little bit later on, because there's going to be another open call, which might be really interesting for some of you. These are some pictures of the open call meeting sessions before COVID hit. So these are all old pictures, I have to assure you. Here, I want to talk about the new coaching and open call for projects in September 2021, especially in the countries of Great Britain, the Netherlands, Germany and Ireland, where we are going to select another 10 candidates of greenhouses which are connected to buildings and cities, not only on rooftops anymore. We have broadened our view. All right, and with that, I want to introduce EBF. What are we doing? What are we? Who are we, actually? What is a different question, right? So, we start off because Franz, who is CEO, and me, as a leader of the greenhouse production, we are physicists, and physicists always use other physicists to show that they're right? So, Max Planck said something in a way of energy is the capability of a system to make an action. And with that in mind, you have to see that food is energy. And with that, we come to some conclusions, especially if you look at all the aspects of the production of food. A lot of this is dependent on fossil energy, making food a fossil energy, not only energy, but a fossil energy. And with no oil, there might be no food. And no food is shit. And we don't want that. So we found a different solution. We go away from the centralized production and heavily industrialized food production to a more decentralized one, where we can reduce a lot of the oil aspect, of the fossil fuel aspects, and we can reduce a lot of the aspects of cooling, distribution, and a lot of the different things coming with that, reducing the CO2 imprint on that a lot. All of that is going to be done in the EBF nursery at Bürstadt in Germany, which is somehow between Frankfurt and Heidelberg for whoever is a little bit familiar with Germany. And what you can see here on this picture is the renewed picture, also the rendering of what we plan. And in the right upper corner, you see the rooftop greenhouse already. And this rooftop greenhouse there, this is where I'm sitting at the moment. And while all the other things on this side look really nice, I have to say at the moment it looks a bit different, but you will see a lot in the videos to come. So, Learning by testing. This is the rendering of the greenhouse, and I have to say it really looks nearly the same at the moment, and I can show you. I have to talk about this now. The German pilot is, we have our own greenhouse design, and with our own I mean that we did the whole aspect of the development. We made the complete steel structure and aluminum structure. We made every part of it. This is all invented by us, and everything was drawn and especially invented by me. So if you have any questions regarding the greenhouse structure itself, I am the right guy to call. Then it is built on an old packaging hall. The location of the greenhouse and the nursery is old, run down. It went bankrupt before we took over, and you'll find a lot of different really old and broken down aspects of old horticulture experience here. And this is something we want to, well, we want to renew part by part, as it is possible. So you can see this is before GROOF. This was the old packaging hall, and if you can see, there's an old chimney, there's a cage in front of it, so this looks like something out of the 50s, never mind, right? The building itself is broken. The roof was sealed, okay, somehow. It was really shit insulation, but it was still dry, at least to say that, so it's not that bad. In there was a packaging hall, a tool shop and offices, and the heating system was old oil-based. This is a view from the backside. If you can see, there's a chamfered corner with a nice clock and so on. Everything of that had to be removed, and I'll show you in the next few pictures what we did. Then we removed the roof, obviously, which was, because of the 50s, it was full of asbestos, and you can imagine that is not easy to recycle, and also has to be done by some special company, because it is too dangerous for your own sanitation problems. Okay. Is everybody fine until now? Is there any problem with the stream? I just wanted to check in between and then see if so, since the delay will be taking some time until I reach it. So this is a view from the top. There's not much to see, but you can see there's no roof and the chimney is gone too. The stones and bricks of the old chimney are being reused at the moment as the ground floor in one of our greenhouses. Here you can see we've started to remove the roof, and all the trusses went away. Parts of these trusses have been reused, and on the left side you can see the rebars we used for the concrete foundation. Here's a nicer view. We started, back to the previous one, you see on the left, in the back, the side to the west has been started to be remodeled already, and the rest of the roof is still intact. So we got section by section through the roof. That meant we didn't need as much concrete in one place at one time, so we could very easily and with not that much heavy machinery install it. Also, it gave us a bit of an opportunity to make it really fine and gradually evolutionary. The next picture here, you can see this already. Here's the concrete foundation. This goes all around the whole greenhouse. So it builds like a sizzle on top of the greenhouse, on top of the old brickwork, which was still very stable and on a very good foundation. So we only needed to make it very sure that there's another layer of really heavy foundation so that the greenhouse will be very fine on it. You can see we built all of these these bars planks on our own, like that. You see the rebars in it, and in the next picture you can see how it was filled up very nicely, and with that we built the complete greenhouse once around, like this and this. And you can see it was typical German weather where it was raining as hell. So And with that, I can start our first video for today. And here you can see a drone footage of the greenhouse foundation. If you can see on the right hand side on the foundation, traversing over the room is one of the old trusses, which we could reuse. So that meant that we didn't have to recycle part of the old roof, but we could really nicely reuse it here. This is a top view, and there you can see that this is not completely finished. There's one truss missing, the back side on the right side, and how the concrete is structured. Really interesting. The building underneath is basically structured in a way that our greenhouse structure is perfectly fitting with the posts onto the existing brickwork, which was not planned at all and a really lucky coincidence. So that meant we didn't have to make the complete foundation too strong to bear the load. It was really nice. Also, under the blanket there, on the film, there are already the wooden trusses, which got to be the basis of the greenhouse. So we can just go around this a bit and look at it, so you get a bit of a hang on how all of the surrounding area looks like, and what has been done here, and how old it actually is. And now you think something really interesting. We had to remove the the video so you can look at it a bit more. You can see on the side into the west, where the chamfered corner is, that there is a small, a small area over the offices and under the rooftop platform, where a lot of technical storage capacity is. There, a heat pump and the heating system, the distribution of water will be installed. There's still a small hole in the front so that you can go in there. So, and with that, we'll see that it goes to black in a few seconds, and then we go on with the presentation. So, this is how it looked like after the wooden trusses were spaced out, and I actually here is one of the reusing of the old materials, and how the nice trusses we had out from the old roof could be just put into the platform, or underneath the platform. And here's the platform. I still have another video I show you. Oh, wait. So what you can see here is basically drone footage where we fly into the old packaging hall, and how it looks like with the truss in the back, and how everything was constructed here in the front. There's Guido installing everything and grinning. And now we're flying out of it, and we can see in a few moments how we installed all the large roof beams, like the large wooden beams, without using heavy machinery. You can see on the left side there are some conveyor belts, which are out from the horticulture, where you can normally have like the growing trays on it. But in this case, we used them to move them around here. But this doesn't work properly for the side in the east, so we had to roll them over. With a little bit of assistance from our wheel loader, we had we put these trusses, these beams, on the concrete foundation. The footage here, which was all done by David, our horticulture expert, and he's a real artist. And you can see here, the video cutting was done by me. I'm a very, very amateur video cutter, but I hope that is fine with you. So you can see here, the trusses have to be moved over, and that was done by manpower. In this case, 2 men and 1 woman. And here you can see again the conveyors on the bottom and how everything was moved. All of this was supported by our structural engineer we had hired, who made us, we went through a lot of iterations to get this done perfectly, because it is not easy to retrofit such an old building and get a platform which is strong enough for greenhouse and obviously for plant production. So we're going back to our presentation where we had a lot of pictures here. Just for your information, we had not that much video material in the beginning because we were all setting up everything. For the later on there will be more. Here we have the platform made from wooden boards with chipboards, and we put bitumen felt on it to make it sealed shut against the rain. And here there was really hot days in summer where we did this last year, and you'll see some metal sheeting on the side, and still with the scaffolding. The scaffolding could be removed after we put some scaffolding on the platform, and here you can see that. And with the next step, you can see a really nice video of the installation. Oh, it has started too early. Here we go. And here you have the first time-lapse construction of what we did here. And you can see here a bit of a closer how everything was done. I don't want to talk too much about this, just take in the pictures. That's really nice what had been done here. What you can also see is how this was installed. Here we have some nice pictures on how this was done from the side. We tried some action shots to be a bit more in there, and we also tried some action cuts, you can see here. And then we installed basically the rest of the steel structure. It's really nice weather in that case. One of these trusses weighs around 80 kilograms, so it's a bit complicated to do this without further assistance, but it's working. We have a telescopic wheel loader with which we could transport everything onto the platform, and from there on everything is done by hand. This was done intentionally because our idea is that a greenhouse should be possible to install with only people's power. So giving back power to the people here. Most of the work here is completely handmade then. Sometimes the posts are a bit far away, and then they had to use some bands to get them a bit closer together. And this, yeah, it's really nice work what the guys did here. In the background you can see now the farm and how broken down it looks. If you look closely, there's also one of these greenhouses not finished yet, but will be soon. Sometimes really enjoyable to look at the time-lapse videos and look at the sky and see how everything moves very quickly. And then there's German weather, of course. Here's really nice. It's the post on the front and the south side and how they are installed. Here we added the aluminum profiles where the film is going to be installed later. We're using aluminum because the ETFE film, what I'm going to talk about later, is very likely very good installed in on aluminum and not so much on steel. Okay. We go back, you see that from side view and how the greenhouse looks from inside before finished. And from front side here you can see the sign that we are funded by Interreg and the Northwest Europe project, and that we are a GROOF project. Here the whole aluminum has been installed already and is ready for the next step. But the next step is the blank installation for the walls, and for the walls we used Hempcrete. And in the next video you can see the foundation we did with Misapor, which is foamed up glass, which is a really nice stuff, and mixed with a bit of concrete so to make it hard. And this is the basis, and on it comes the Hempcrete. And I am going to talk about the Hempcrete now, and we have a really nice video about the Hempcrete. I have to just find it. Oh, that was too much. Here we are. First we installed the planks. This was really nice. Looks a bit like in a comic how it's installed. And here you see sideways from the Hempcrete installation. It took about approximately 1.5 to 2 weeks to make the full installation of the Hempcrete wall. And in the next step, which is going to be following after here, we'll see the whole process which we go through. This is me, where I'm carrying around hemp, especially how I'm processing it. This is made from hemp bark, so it's not the strings and the face, it's the bark of it. And it's really nice building material for that. We put this in a mixer. The mixer was sent to us from China. We had to wait a long time before it arrived. That made some delays for the project, but it got finally there. It's a gigantic mixer, if you can see that. Then we add some Romana cement for the recipe of the Hempcrete. I can show you that there will be people in the chat who can help you with that, and who can connect to you if you're interested in that building material. Hempcrete is here. There's calcium being added, and we shut it and then mix it again. After that we add water, and this is basically it. It's a really nice structure. You have to have some protective measures for your larynx and your lungs, but that was not a problem since last year. We were used to that anyway. Hempcrete is a really nice material, with basically being a CO2 negative, because it sucks out CO2 when you install it, when it dries out. It is a very nice insulator, so we're using it as thermal insulation. It is not it's not burning, it cannot burn, it's not flammable, which makes it a really nice material to work with. Some drawbacks are that you can't use it for structural integrity, so you need some other structure first, but you can use the Hempcrete to fill out the structure. It's quite visually interesting what we did here with the filming. It's always nice if you can have some bit of art in your life, right? So we try to get that. Also, this footage is why I'm okay with my wife telling me not to eat that much anymore. With 2 children at home, it's basically impossible getting enough food for me now, but that's okay if you look at the footage here. I'm coming out so from an old farmer's family, and this footage here of me on the V-loader is just there to make my brothers envious of me. The Hempcrete has a really nice structure now. You might see it in a few moments. It's well, it's hard to describe because it hasn't changed that much in comparison to the bark before. It's very light and soft like a material, but if you compress it, it gets a really nice working structure, and it hardens out quite a bit. Yeah. Okay, you see, we had some fun while doing this. Also, I have to admit that it looks like I'm doing a lot of stuff here, but in the end I was only sitting in the office, and I just came there for doing this footage, because the guys are the only 2 at site at the time, and yeah, it's hard to do this work alone with one filming. The letters on my shirt actually mean careful physicist, so if you see me, be careful, I'm a physicist. Yeah, we're going around here, and now we can see how if you put in the Hempcrete into behind the planks, you can see what we're doing next. We're going to be brutal on them and battering them and beating up, and this compresses it, and after that you can dry. The planks can be removed actually only like 15 minutes after they have been compressed. Here you can see how the fabric is of the stuff. It's really light. It's a bit wet, obviously, but it's you can work with it really nice. And this is what we do. We just compress it. It's just leg work, and in that case, it's arm work. There are additional work possibilities of adding that to your structure, like you can spray it on. Also some different ones, but I think this is what we did was really nice. Left side, you can really see how nice the structure is of the Hempcrete. You will see it in a moment again. Everything you see in back, everything which falls down can just be put in the next mixture and used again, so you don't lose anything. Even if it dries up, we just use it again. Then it gets spread out and then compressed again. And then it gets compressed like this. On left side, again, the nice structure of the Hempcrete. It's basically like a tree, and it shows its age signs with rings. And this is also quite the work. After that, you have sore arms for sure, if you're not used to it. For the corners, you can use a bit of a lighter tool. Also, it's necessary, or a good idea, to use additional hooks or so in the material, so that doesn't get separated from the walls. Usually it should be fine with just putting it there. You can see nice footage from inside the greenhouse before the film installation. Okay. Yeah, we made it very clear. It's nice how it should look like. Yeah, this is all show. And they went into the sunset. On the other hand, you can see now a full tour on how the greenhouse looked like after that. What you can see here is that we also had the roof insulation ready here, which is not completely finished by that point, but the blanks are already on there, so it doesn't get too wet inside. Well, there was no film, but here you can see the nice Hempcrete wall. It was raining a lot around that time, but it's not a problem. The Hempcrete is stable against rain. It doesn't wash out. It's really, really strong. As you can see here, we had a different mixture. This is why it is a bit lighter at that side. Okay. Back to the presentation. I have a few more things here, some pictures of it with the plague and everything, and yeah, some information about the Hempcrete. It's 100% recyclable, no molding and no decaying, which is really nice. We have good insulation, heat resistance, and soundproofing. Soundproofing is interesting because as soon as the Hempcrete one was up, basically nobody could communicate anymore from one side to the other side of the construction, because normally it would go by shouting, but this was not possible anymore. It's fireproof, as I said. We have good room climate, pollutant and humidity absorbing. Really nice because it breathes basically in, and it is CO2 negative, as I said. I think I said most of it already, so we can jump to the next one. You see, there's the Hanfbau Kollektiv and Hanf und Kalk. These are our partners in that. And if you are interested in anything regarding the Hempcrete, you can contact these guys directly. They are very happy to assist you because there are not many people around the world who can really work with that. Alright, then we have the back roof finished, as you can see, and there's already a little bit more there to see. And you can see in the next video where we're going to install the ETFE film, and I'm going to talk about the ETFE film and its specialties. Yeah, I should have made that different. Here you can see how we installed the ETFE film. And here, with the drone footage again, in the backhand you see how the guys are rolling it up. The ETFE is tetrafluorhydrocarbonate or so, something like this. It's a very interesting material. It has 94% transmissive properties. It's very thin. We use a 60 micrometer film for the inside. The one we have is also diffuse on the inside. Going to talk about this in a few moments. And this film can be ordered in one sheet, and so we put the whole sheet in one over it. You can see that in a moment when we're going to pull the whole sheet down. The high transmissive properties make it possible that we have a double layered with a 100 micrometer clear film on the outside. This gives us with a distance of I think 24 millimeters between each film, and a U value of 3.0 for heat transmission, which is very nice for greenhouse, while maintaining over 90% or approximately 90% of light transmissive properties. In addition, and this is maybe one of the key aspects why this material might be a game changer in greenhouse business, is that it's UV transparent, which not only makes it very likely to get a sunburn inside of the greenhouse, it also makes the plants a lot stronger. Plants are used to UV light, and getting it strengthens the plant. Here we start with a film being drawn over it. Also, and UV transparent also means no decaying from UV light, which makes the lifetime of the ETFE film a lot longer than all other comparable materials. And sometimes you find a PE film, for example, after 3 years have to be remade and reinstalled. And for ETFE we have examples of the material being applied in greenhouse for over 30 years and only having reduced the transmissive properties by 1%. This makes it ideal for greenhouse construction, since the light intensity in a greenhouse is a lot. Also, the same material was used for the bird's nest in China, for the large stadium, and of course for the Allianz Arena in Munich. There with a white sign, a white color. You can order this a bit differently also. You can see where we pulled over the film, and afterwards they're getting clamping profiles on top of the film to fix the film to the rest of the greenhouse structure. There are also some perpendicular aluminium pipes there. They are for stability. Putting the film on top makes the structure in that way be drawn in, because the film uses a lot of strength on the structure and draws the side walls in. Therefore we need more stability. Also for wind loads. If you can see here, there's a bit of wind, but it's really nice. Cover it all the time if you install it. If there is getting too much air underneath it, it might fly away. If you're interested in the ETFE film, you can contact us directly, because we are in contact with the guys selling it. Also, we have the profiles to fix everything to your structure. Now, this was one of the nice pictures here. Now we have that in same in the time lapse, and here we fixed the sidewalls first, and then on the next day, oh no, sorry, we started with the top. You can see us moving around there and fixing the clamping profiles there, and then we went to the side and fixed it there. This is a really nice work. And for us it was a milestone set, because now no water could become into the greenhouse again. And here you see nice sun setting, which was also sad because we had to stop. Now it's the next day, and there you can see with the bent ladders how the film installation is done. Start from the top, from the bottom, and we go also there from the top, and with that we can get a really nice you can get to every part of the profile. We go into the middle to fix the middle profiles first, and then we have the distance each time to get a similar the tension being smooth and the same in all parts. Sometimes it's also possible to get the ETFE film only on rolls, and then it's a bit more complicated to install. This is footage of how we did the installation of the final layers, or the second layer. And Max here, he's climbing around on everything, looking really busy, and doing really good work there. I have to say that. He will not like it that hear that, but he did. You can really see how the bent ladder is exactly in the same radius as the rest. This is necessary to not damage the film or the structure. Here you can also see that the rest of the roof behind is already finished, but we're going to see different footage there. Here they're fixing the final profiles. You can see really nice how the drill, how it gets drilled in the screws, and how the tension starts to increase as soon as the profile is fixed. This is actually strong enough for withholding a lot of wind force, so that's a really nice opportunity to fix it. Alright, have to check. We directly go on to the next video. Oh, it starts again. I'm sorry. We are still learning how all of this works. This is the first time we are doing a live stream, and I hope until this point it's not too bad. Here, this was the last part of the installation we did with this is hemp straw. We're using a lot of hemp. where the construction, while the construction works, and during development, obviously. And this was a joke for everybody from the authorities listening. Here, the hemp straw gets put into the cabins here, and then finish off with the metal sheeting. The metal sheeting is reflective, so doesn't heat up too much. So I think 20 centimeters of hempcrete, hemp straw, so it makes a really nice and really good insulation there. So here we are back again with that. There's only few details missing. If you see on this picture, if you look back on the back side of my picture, you can see it that the ventilation flaps have been installed by now, and the metal sheeting is also done. You can't see that here, and I have no picture, sadly. I will give this later to you. Yeah, this is that. What is missing? What is really missing is now a few aspects which are really interesting, which make this greenhouse so special, actually. And this is, we are planning on having a greenhouse which is more or less passively usable all time of the year. This, of course, depends on where you are, because if you are in the Arctic Circle, you are not being able to do that, obviously. And if you're at Sahara, you have the same problems, but differently. Well, not the same problems, completely different ones, actually. But here what you see, this is the greenhouse we built in Changshu, China, at the UWC. This is a United World College there. And this greenhouse has a thermal blanket, and this thermal blanket gets rolled over the film at night times, especially in winter, to conserve all the heat energy of the day. This reduces the heat transmissive properties of the greenhouse by a lot. If you can see here, this is an old, very old prototype of us, where we did basically this. You can see it on the left side. This is an infrared view and how warm it is, and then on the other side, when it's closed, how little heat gets lost. The highest point of temperature on the right picture is 0.6 degrees. On the left side, it's 22.2. So this was a not heated greenhouse in winter, having 22 degrees inside, while it was, I think, -2 or -3 degrees outside. Here you see very small graphic on the red line is how much energy you need for heating without a thermal blanket, and the green one is with one. So this is a very important aspect which is still missing, but it's not a problem, because at the moment we have summer and we don't need it. You could use, on the other hand, you could use the thermal blanket for very high light intensive moments. For example, in Africa, for example, we can use that for the sun around midday. When it's too intense for plant growing, you can shut it and keep the heat outside. With the thermal blanket, we can reduce the total U value of all of the greenhouse below 1.0, which makes this basically the only greenhouse which is abiding to the German energy savings laws. And I think all the European ones too, because we have the same laws now. And additionally, we are going to install photovoltaic panels. This is a picture of the Horticulture Expo greenhouse we had in Beijing in 2019. And here you can see the photovoltaics panel. They are movable, so if there's not much sunlight, we can rotate them out of the sun, so the plants get everything, and the plant's growth is stumped over a certain solar intensity. And at that point, we put the solar panels in, and we generate electricity. And with that, we can help the plants, and we can generate electricity. One aspect of the GROOF project is to reduce CO2 emissions, and one of the aspects of the CO2 emission reduction is generating electricity by ourselves. And we do that by that, and the other part of the energy is that the greenhouse itself, due to the low energy demand, needs a lot of ventilation in summer and in the transition periods. And in the transition periods, we can use this heat to heat the support building underneath the greenhouse. With that, what we'll end up with is a net positive energy usage, hopefully. And this is what we're going to monitor in the following year. And now I go into a video with some final expressions. Again, we have to switch through all the videos, sorry for that. And here we have the last video. This was done at sunset not long ago. Here no ventilation flaps were installed yet, but you can see a really nice overview how the greenhouse is looking right now. And you can also see how it's quite close to the renderings we did in the beginning. And that makes me quite happy that I did renderings correct. The support building is going to be remodeled too a bit, because to abide all the modern building standards, so it gets insulation, and the windows are getting we're getting new windows. We change a bit of the gates and so on, so it doesn't leak too much. Here you can see into the sunset, really nice. There will be really nice pictures in the future, the finished greenhouse. And also you see the main entrance, the staircase in the back. It's a really nice stairs made by a carpenter. Also back door is missing. We are installing that quite soon too. Again, not that necessary because it's summer. All right, with that, I want to show you only, before we go on to the questions, I show you what we have in mind for the next years, so to come. And first, I want to show you the kindergarten concept. And this is going to be some really interesting thing for the future, also for everybody who's planning in a town. There is a concept called natural kindergarten in Germany, where children can go and not go into the traditional kindergarten because they are in the forest. And what we found here is a good, nice opportunity to show children how food production is starting, and they can live all year with food production at their site and having a really nice and small greenhouse. This is going to be one of the opportunities how a societal change can be implemented and giving people the opportunity to be reconnected to food production. And if you look closely, you see this greenhouse can not only be a part of a kindergarten, but it can be of what we call solidarische Landwirtschaft, or what people can put that one into their own gardens, and everybody can participate in a change where they get the responsibility of having their food produced back into their own hands. The kindergarten concept is under the name of Himmelgrün, which is a German wordplay, because usually you would call it Himmelblau, makes the skies blue, but here the sky's green, because we are gardening here, and the children are happy. Hopefully, let's see about that, but we're very sure. And an additional one is the private greenhouse. It's a very much less impressive rendering, but it's a very nice product for the future, where everybody can build this one. This greenhouse is being planned to be implemented and being built into each garden in Germany without having a building permit. So this makes it very feasible as a concurrent product for all the very simple, I'd say, greenhouses you will find in other parts, like in some supermarkets or so. All right. I think with that, there is much more to come from us in the future. And if you want to get to know us better, you can join us on social media here. You can contact us every time under info@ebf-gmbh.de, or you can have my own email address. Most of you will have it since you registered, and I wrote you with that. And without further ado, I think everybody of us is now in for a little bit of water, as at least I am. And then we can, we're not sponsored by them. And then we can start with the questions. Please send them in over the chat. I will check the chat. and due to the delay, it might take a little bit of time. Also really nice, we peaked at 32 people watching, which is really nice. Thanks all of you for being a part of that. Makes us very happy about that. There was a lot of work going into that, and so what we can start with now is, I think, I had a question beforehand. We can start with that one, and everybody else can then chime in then later. The question was why the greenhouse is formed that way. So why does it have this curve? And this is I can give an answer to that, and this is a three-part answer to that question. The first is we are using the diffuse film, and the diffuse film gives a very smooth transition throughout the whole greenhouse. And the light scattering is dependent on the angle on which the sunlight hits the film. So hitting it on a lot of different angles gives the light a better distribution, and gives a really nice opportunity to also grow in the backside. As you can see, it's a bit darker in the backside. It's because of the roof, but it is intentionally, because we want to have salads or leafy greens on the back wall of the greenhouse, making something which is not as light intensive as tomatoes or cannabis, for example, which can stand in the front. This is made not so much for monoculture as much for inclusive and a lot of cultures can be put in there. This is the one aspect. The second one is the photovoltaics panel. Due to the shape, we can align them much better, and they can be used better here inside. Interesting about the photovoltaics panels is, due to the high transmissive properties of the ETFE film, it is possible to use the PV inside with very light, so they're basically only plastic sheets. This is the second aspect. And the third part is obviously the thermal blanket I talked about. If you have a really nice curve, and then you will have a good opportunity to put the blanket over it. So this is so the answer to that question. Stefan, I think that was for you, because you asked me beforehand, and I used that before all the other questions came in, and they just arrived at the same time as I finished. So you can imagine how long it takes the latency to get to me. First, I will read them first, and then we go through them. Nice. So, Stefan, you were asking again about how we finish the side of the greenhouse film. So what we're doing is we are extending the film over the side walls a bit, and then we put the metal sheeting on top. So the hempcrete gets a really nice additional second skin, basically, and doesn't get broken. On the bottom side, we're using the second layer of the film to just go through. We don't cut it, and use it as the second layer of the ventilation flap. So we are not getting any water in between. At the upper side, we just cut it, but we let it go a bit over it, and then the metal sheeting's on top. I will send around some pictures about that. So Vincent was asking what the highest temperature indoor during summer. So at the moment we have, I can very quickly check. It's 30 degrees at the moment, which is very bearable. And I would say we have to check. So since the photovoltaic panels are not in here yet, so the shading is missing, I can't really tell you right now how much it's going to be, but we made some simulations which capped it at around 32 to 34 degrees, I think, but I have to check this again. Thanks, Stefan. How long did it take to build it? Yeah, this is a good question, and it took some time, but this was mainly due to the fact that we are only 2 people permanently, or 1 guy permanently on the construction site, and 2 people assisting. And for the main parts of the construction, we had we had all of the people. You could see that sometimes there are 10 people there also for film installation, for example. And yeah, this is basically we took around now 1.5 years with a lot of delays due to COVID. We had a lot of delays due to missing machinery. Like I said, like this big mixing machine, it took 3 months to come here. Then there was additional emergency construction work done on the farm, which needed urgent attentions for, I think, 1.5 months. So overall, I think if we would have built everything with full manpower through, I think it would have taken like 3 months or 4, I think, or even quicker, most probably quicker. So there's a lot of opportunities to get this better. But I would say better because we had a lot of learning opportunities. This is the first time we built it on our own site. Beforehand, there are 4 or 5 greenhouses we built on different sites where other people are involved and where different techniques were used. And we are getting, with the prototypes, we're getting at a better point from time to time now. Okay, Etienne is asking, yeah, and Vincent too, how much does it cost? So, at the moment, this is really hard to answer because we have this greenhouse installed point by point. So we are ordering the steel parts, and then we're ordering the aluminum parts, and then we're ordering the rest. So I can only really tell you how much it really cost in the end. But for a greenhouse like this, just a greenhouse, I would say at the moment we're at 100 to 120,000 euros, and it's 160 square meters. But this price can go down since we are still at the prototype phase. You have to remember that. And I have to do some quick math. If we use the upper one, it's approximately 750 euros per square meter, which is a really good price for a rooftop greenhouse. You can ask everybody else. But maybe this price is even lower because really I just threw around some random numbers right now. And the next question, is this technology adapted to any climate conditions? Yes, very much. We have a modular system. We have a lot of different modules we can add and remove. For example, since we are in a moderate climate, we basically need everything. We need the stuff which cools it in the summer, and we need the stuff which heats it up in the winter. We have the thermal blanket. We need the PV panels. Then there is ventilation systems. Some ventilators on the side walls, and we use adiabatic cooling. In addition, we use the thermal blanket sometimes as a heat shield. We use it to keep the heat inside, and these are the possibilities to add this greenhouse to other parts of the world is very much adaptive. Like the greenhouse which you've seen at UWC in China, it's in a tropical area, and they have like 40 degrees in summer, and they have additionally cooling power installed so that they can use it there. But we as EBF would not install so much cooling power due to it being well, there would be too much electricity use, so too much power usage, and that would be not our way of thinking here. So we would maybe don't do production for 2 months or so. Yeah, then thanks a lot for all the questions. I am now looking into my emails if there are more questions. yeah. If you need a certificate of participation, it's no problem. Everybody who wants one can get one from me. Thank you all for being here right now, and thank you for really liking our project for the moment. Are there more questions? That's my question for the moment. So it doesn't seem like it at the moment. If you have any more questions for the future, just feel free to contact us anytime. We're very happy to talk to everybody who's interested in urban farming, who's interested in greenhouse construction, who have some new input. We are not making everything perfect. We are always learning ourselves, and we are very happy to share our work, and we are very happy to be part of the GROOF project, and we are very happy to to have the opportunity to make such a nice project. So in the end, if you have any more questions, contact us. Other than that, I will end on this note. We'll let the stream revel on for a few moments, so everybody can still write in the chat, and I will go through it again. Maybe there will still some questions, and yeah. Thank you all for listening, and see you next time. There will be a lot of this webinar coming in. Yeah. Yeah. Really nice. See you soon then. Bye.